This is your First Alert Weather Breakdown, a deep dive into how weather works with meteorologist Evan Thomason.
Hey, welcome on in and good morning. It is Wednesday. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Evan Thomason here in the Weather Center. Hump day, and not only that, I'm working on the First Alert Weather Breakdown with the rest of the week with you guys. Props up always to CJ for always co-hosting every single, usually most Mondays and Tuesdays of the work week. But hey, I'm with you on Wednesday. We are talking tropics here for the day today. Overall, not a whole lot happening, not going to be honest, on that front and also in our local Arklatex weather. But hey, that means we get to chill back and relax maybe a little bit more. But I think the biggest story of things around here in the Arklatex is that our cool, refreshing air is pretty much gone. We've pretty much waved the last little remnants of that refreshing air bye-bye this morning. Tomorrow morning does not look nearly as cool. I think tomorrow morning's temperatures almost revert back to normal. And when I mean back to normal, I mean like to summer normal, where most of us were hanging around in the upper 60s and lower 70s and for the start of days. But you know, that spells trouble whenever we're talking about starting the day in 60s and 70s and progressing into a summer hot day in the afternoon. Yes, we'll see how hot we get in the afternoon here, coming on up in this First Alert Weather Breakdown. But essentially, summer's back, and summer's back to stay in place. Here's what's going on. Essentially, our atmosphere is stuck. So guess what? Now that our weather conditions have heated back up, now we're all going to be stuck with summer heat, summer humidity, and lots of sunshine. That's at least optimal to, not cancel any weekend plans, especially those outdoors. But it will be a scorcher in for the middle of September. With, unfortunately, not really a great chance to an end for that in sight. I will say I am seeing a slim chance of rain coming in to the end of the 7-day forecast, which is finally better than nothing at all, which is what I've seen over Monday and Tuesday's forecast for the long term. But it's quite bleak, honestly. Let's get into what we're getting. I've already stated what we're getting into, but to put it in pen and paper, because I know that's sometimes better for you guys and sometimes also better for me as well. We're talking hot and sunny. And we're repeating those conditions. We're mainly talking hot temperatures because we've been hanging around with nice cooler air or more refreshing air over the past couple days. So hot temperatures is the big change moving on in the next couple days. Meanwhile, sunshine still remains. Today's day 4. Today is day 4 of our dry streak. Overall, I don't see much of a change to our dry streak. That's essentially what I want to get at here. Straight on this First Alert Weather Breakdown. Unfortunately, you will not be changing much of those conditions here, well, really at all over the next couple of days. So let's get into our forecast here. Then we'll get into the tropics after a short little break. I do want you to also watch out for the tropics, too, because even though everything's mostly quiet on that front, we'll discuss in a little bit, but today is the peak day for the tropical season, September 10th. This is it. No, I won't say this is it. Sorry, that's the terrible phrasing because we still have half the season left. Today is the peak of the conditions, about halfway through. The peak months are always, or the peak kind of the season is between August 20th and October. Usually, I think it's beginning of October. October 1st, I want to say. That's why September 10th kind of ends up being the very peak of the hurricane season itself. So we'll check out what the forecast is coming up in just a little bit. But let's go over the local forecast first and foremost. Here is a look at downtown Shreveport and out in the Bossier. Hey, nice, beautiful blue skies and sunshine. I can never complain about that. Even though it is hot, and that is exactly what has driven in some very hot temperatures around the Arklatex. But, I mean, you're not even finding a cloud in the sky. Like, even when we had some of these outlooks on some of these kind of bland days, we'd at least see a little bit of cloud cover around, and that would provide us with just the slimmest chance of rain in for the afternoon, but that's not even going to be found around here. So what to wear? You're hanging around with T-shirt and shorts now. I know over the past couple of mornings, we've been, maybe getting out some sleeves, some light jackets maybe, but starting now and rolling on for the rest of the week, it's just T-shirt and shorts. It is not 70 degrees as well. I forgot to update that. But essentially, we're hanging around mostly sunny skies and some brutal hot temperatures that are going to be forthcoming here for several days. Here's your weather headlines. And this is just goes to show you the story. If anything's happening around here, I think you get the point. I don't even need to I mean, I guess I will say it. It will be hot and it will be sunny today, through the weekend, and into next week as well. The point is we're not changing much around here for a while. Hang on. I know it's your favorite 7-day forecast coming up because we have so many hot temperatures, which everybody enjoys around the region. I made a joke of that on my social media here today, where my viewers, I had a crying emoji set up, and I said, these are my viewers looking at my 7-day forecast coming up. So if you want to avoid the tears, maybe, well, stick around if you want to have happy tears. They're probably not happy. Anyways, you get the point. It's hot. It's sunny for the next several days. Let's look at the current temperatures now. 86 here in Shreveport, 82 in for Texarkana, 81 in for Minden, 76, meanwhile, Mount Pleasant, a little cooler into the Queen, 75 degrees. But you can see, feels like temperatures not much above what the current temperatures are, actually, because humidity is, I wouldn't say humidity is terribly low today, but it's not peaking today. We don't have a high amount of humidity. That will be building, to be fair, over the next several days as we show you what's going on our upper level pattern. See, we have this high pressure system, which is already kind of on top of us in a way with a huge ridge just out to our west. This is going to be nudged a little bit farther east as we carry on into the second half of the work week and into the weekend. And the problem is this system stays stuck. This whole ridge, which is essentially the influence of the high pressure system. And what I mean by influence is kind of how much its range. Its range. How much dry, what's the word I'm looking for? What's its range of dry conditions? How vast is the sunshine that this high pressure system is producing? Because these systems are usually known for kind of, especially dominant ones like this one, are going to be known for producing a good amount of sunshine all around here. So, again, essentially where my blue arrow is kind of where this range of sunshine is all going to be, and obviously this includes the Arclitex because this high-pressure system is parked right on top of us here all the way until Monday at least. Highs today, again, all of us crossing across the 90-degree threshold here for this afternoon. Some of us were lucky and didn't yesterday, but we're continuing to heat things up more and more as the work week progresses. 92 in for Texarkana, 93 in Atlanta. So essentially what that means is today is your hottest day of the work week so far, but it's also the coolest day of the work week remaining. 92 in Marshall, 92 in Carthage, 92 in Longview, 92 in Dangerfield across northwest Louisiana, 94 in Shreveport, 93 in for Natchitoches, 92 in Homer. All right, so again, this is going to be happening over the next several days. You look at these highs pretty much repeatedly. I'm getting into the mid-90s each and every day. It continues through Thursday, continues through Friday, even the weekend. I mean, you'll see, you can almost just look at the shades of color, just continuing to essentially give the peak of where that heat's going up is right through the Arclitex almost. I mean, if you're looking kind of on the outskirts out towards Nashville, out west maybe, some slightly cooler conditions out for those kind of areas, but the point is, like, the bulk of that heat wave, the bulk of the hot jet streams, which are coming out of the south, all of that is funneling over the Arclitex pretty much. And we're going to pick up on a little more humidity, especially once we get into the day tomorrow, too. Temperatures today, low to mid-90s. Notice that's the feels-like temperature, which kind of indicates, since that equals a little more, which is pretty much where our actual temperatures are going to be here for this afternoon. What that means is essentially we don't have too much humidity around here for the day today. Unlike tomorrow, we take a good jump up in the humidity, in my opinion, to reach those feels-like temperatures into the upper 90s, maybe even low triple digits. I don't think we get heat alerts per se, but it's gonna be getting up there. It's gonna be getting up there to a certain point. All right, first look, check your Doppler radar. So we talked about the heat hanging around. Let's talk about what's going on with our skies, which, as I kind of mentioned, with that high pressure system in place, there's not much to be expected, to be fair. There's nothing here locally. Zooming out, there's a few storms which have tried to trickle on in areas of northern Texas and western Oklahoma. To be fair, these storms are actually moving off to the south and east, but if you kind of even look at the loop, first of all, it's not an impressive system, number one. Number two, it's kind of falling apart as it goes south and east. That's essentially trying to force storms into the bulk of that high pressure system. So all those kind of storms that try to come from out west and try to be driven off south and east, they're going to be blocked off by the high pressure system. And essentially all the moisture dries up by the time it tries to reach here. So you'll see that on the future track here for the day today. Look at the cloud cover. That's across areas of Oklahoma. You'll just see that fizzle out for the most part as it tries to reach the Arklatex. So just maybe a little bit of cloud cover late tonight, but overall, we're remaining dry here through today, tomorrow, maybe a brief chance of one stray shower showing up tomorrow, but overall, I wouldn't consider that happening overall over the next 3 days. We should be remaining completely dry here all the way through um, all the way through next week. In fact, here's our rainfall potential map. It looks lackluster, doesn't it? Well, to be fair, this is more green than what I've seen on it over the past few days. A little bit of maybe a brief light drizzle in some areas of eastern Texas. And to be fair, that's being shown a little more towards the tail end. Just a little bit of measurable rainfall potentially for the tail end of our 7-day forecast that could be occurring and could be coming back into next week, the middle of next week. And I really want to emphasize on the word could as well. As for the weekend, hey, again, as I mentioned, nice and dry, but it's going to be a hot one. Maybe, again, make sure your pools are good to go. You know, Labor Day is not the end of summer around here in the Arklatex, so still got, at least this coming weekend is a perfectly good weekend to get into the pool. All right, we will talk about tropics after a quick little break. I'm going to take a quick little water break. Our exclusive content on for the tropics is on after this. We will also showcase you the full 7-day forecast after the tropics, after this quick commercial break. Stick around. We'll be right back after this. Welcome on back to the First Alert Weather Breakdown again. Thank you very much for sticking around. I know it's not really, we're not looking forward to any storms coming up. And not only that, going to be tropical season. It's kind of been very quiet so far. We're still waiting on Gabrielle to form, which is the next system on the list. So if I almost count it on one hand. Ferdinand was the last storm to form, and if A, B, C, D, E, F. We've only had 6 storms so far this year, which is way below what we've had over the past couple seasons. Not only that, it's weird because we've kind of expected an above-average season. And not going to lie, I'm going to have to go back into this. To be fair, we still have half the season left. That's what I want to get at. We made purposely today our tropical forecast because September 10th today is the day of the peak of the season. Essentially, it is the exact middle of our tropic season around the entire Atlantic Ocean. Now, obviously, again, things have been, I won't say ridiculously quiet, but it's been very quiet compared to what we thought it was going to be. So far, not a major impact so far. You could argue a little bit of Barry and Chantal. Both of those are only really the 2 systems that have kind of hit the United States so far. Barry hit mainly landfall around Mexico, but there was the huge news around Barry as it caused the flash flooding that was infamous across central Texas and the hill country around there, and all the devastation that happened thanks to the remnants from Barry, essentially. That was devastating enough. Also, Chantal was a tropical storm. Weak tropical storm, though. But it did hit the Carolinas, gave pretty much a night of flash flooding out to areas in the central portion of North Carolina. But besides those two storms, that's been it. It made any kind of impact in the United States. Aaron came close, gave some rip current issues, but that's been it so far. So that's been us midway through the season. We'll see what happens in the second half. But thankfully, everything is looking calm. We'll get to that in just a second. Let me show you how this is the peak of the season. There's our bar graph, essentially. And there we are. Look at that. Right on the day. Right on the nose. Let me show you the full screen so you can see the full picture here. But essentially, it's nothing but downhill on our tropical climatology map. Now, obviously, as I just mentioned, still half the season to go. And overall, I would call the end of the peak of the season pretty much Halloween. So still not for another month and a half. Well, let's get a good look as to what the outlook is right now, which, by the way, we don't have Tropical Storm Ferdinand still up. I need to... let me change that on the spot here real quick. It'll take 2 seconds for this to come on up. Let's see. There we go. Beautiful. Tropical Storm Ferdinand is not a thing anymore. That happened weeks ago. I forgot to just change the title on it, but I made the map correctly. So, essentially, this is your picture here in the Gulf, what we have out currently. Not a whole lot. You got a couple storms out and just away from the Atlantic, but all this is fading away and doesn't really have any circulation with it. The Gulf. We've had a stationary front placed along the Gulf and some strong winds coming in and out of it, which, by the way, tropical systems hate. So a little bit of convection on the southern end of the Gulf there, and also a little bit with the stationary front that's going through Florida. It's been giving Florida some afternoon storms consistently, but we haven't had really like an area, like a specific circle for these tropical storms to form around. You notice the Caribbean is completely dry. I think the only thing I'm watching out for is way off into Africa itself. You can even see kind of the trip over from Africa to the Caribbean, mostly dry. This is a kind of a cluster of storms trying to come on through, but everything recently has been almost just consistently dried up as it tries to move westward. Now, to be fair, there has been some hints that as to something forming maybe 10 to 14 days out, based on this convection coming off of Africa right now. That could maybe do something in the time ahead. But overall, guess what? No chance for tropical development over the next 7 days. And again, it is the peak of the season. Very impressive around the region. Believe it or not, this is our quietest tropical season that we've had so far since 1992. Props out to our chief meteorologist, Matt Jones, for having that stat line last night. But this is essentially the last... this is the quietest season we've had since 1992. Not only that, I believe this is the first time since these kind of maps were issued, which I think dates back to 2002, 2003, where we have no chance for tropical development on this day, on September 10th. Usually there is either A, a storm that's already formed, and like a tropical storm or hurricane that we're monitoring around this time, or B, we're watching out for an area of interest to form. We have neither of that on this map over the next 7 days, which is fantastic news for us. Let's keep it quiet. Let's keep it rolling. We have no complaints about it, but I will say, I know we were expecting an above-average season, and that could still happen. It's still another entire half to go. We have to go through all the rest of September and also through October, too. But so far, so good. Let's keep it up. And I will say, if this trend continues, this will be something to look after to see exactly what happened. Why weren't tropical systems able to form, essentially? Just a bunch of different factors have kind of contributed to us drying out tropics. You could call it Saharan dust. You could also call it strong winds aloft, which essentially means high up in the atmosphere, which hurricanes hate. Hurricanes like being slowly pushed around at a steady pace. They don't like strong winds that are essentially rushing it along really quickly, because that can leave some convection behind, essentially, and kind of cut it off, essentially. But that's what I got here on the tropical outlook for you. Let's go to the 7-day forecast here, which I know some of you have just been anticipating. I know it kind of looks like I hit copy and paste most of these days, but I trust me, I didn't. 94 today, and guess what? That's the coolest day out of the next 7. The rest of the forecast, it's either 96 or 97 degrees for highs. Next 6 days are completely dry. This is the first day since we've actually had rain back on the last time we had rain around here, remember, was last Saturday morning. I haven't, ever since then on the 7-day forecast, we haven't had a single chance of rain. I did not mean to do that. But essentially Tuesday, I do want to pinpoint Tuesday in particular. Tuesday is the first day that I've had a chance of rain for since rain happened last Saturday. And even then, guess what? It's at 10%. So I'm bringing up the rest of the 7-day forecast here for you now, reloading it. But just weird. weird time where it's quiet. To be fair, most of our summer usually ends up being like this. So we really haven't. We've had some daily downpours on some successive summer afternoons, but and I know some of you will appreciate the sunshine, but unfortunately the high temperatures are here to stay. Summer is back, and summer is back at least for a while. We kind of know October is kind of that month where we try to finally start transitioning our temperatures permanently to be a little more on the cooler side of things. But even then, November can still feature some hot days around, so oh boy, still got to wait a while for summer to finally loosen its grip. Obviously, we've had several breaks, which has been nice, including this past weekend and early this week for those of you who have gotten out earlier in the mornings, but it looks like all that refreshment is gone. So, see what happens. I will keep you, hey, trust me, we will keep you first alert, especially on this podcast, to let you know when there is going to change, when there is change finally coming afoot. Trust me. All right, so that's it for the first Start Weather Breakdown here for the day today. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for those of you who have stuck around. We'll be back on tomorrow with an interview. How exciting. We're going to interview about kind of the tropics, kind of a similar topic, but instead of just going over what's going on in the tropics, we're going to interview Zach Friedel, who's a meteorologist down in New Orleans, close, tight-knit within all the tropical forecasts, and also a very good friend of mine. He will be interviewed tomorrow. We will let you watch that here tomorrow on our first Start Weather Breakdown. That'll be at the same time, same place, just tomorrow on Thursday at 10:30 a.m. You have a great rest of your day. I will talk to you later. And, yeah, keep yourself cool, please. I'll see you tomorrow, 10:30. Be there, be square. Most importantly, be weather aware. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Peace out.